Welcome to the What's New in Jazzit Fundamentals for 2017. The purpose of this video is to introduce and demonstrate the major new features in the Jazzit Fundamentals package for 2017. Remember that Jazzit updates are cumulative. Updating to the latest release will include all features from prior updates. Features shown will be shown in template order. And please note that any updates to the CSRE 2400 reporting standards will only be shown in respect to the financial statements and letters. Engagement and representation letters updated for CSRE 2400. We have updated the letters to include the latest revisions from CSRE 2400 for review engagements with year ends of December 14th, 2017 or later. The letters have also been updated to include a cautionary note which will inform the user that they are using the incorrect version of the letter depending on the year end selected in Caseware. If you are performing an engagement with the year end of December 14th, 2017 or later, the current engagement letter and representation letter must be replaced with new versions of these templates in order to remain compliant. Improvements to updating the Resource Center. We have included steps which make it easier to update your Resource Center, along with warning indicators which help make the process simpler and more informative. The update process now consists of 5 easy-to-follow steps. Step 1. Set the path to the uncompressed GenMast. Step 2. Click on the button and download the latest update from our customer support site. Step 3. Install the update from Step 2 and connect to the directory where it has been installed. Step 4. Press the button to refresh dates to ensure that all the dates from the update have been brought in. Step 5 will allow you to update all the modules which are out of date with one simple click, or you can simply update whichever templates you like on a single one-by-one basis. Online Jazzit Fundamentals help and user interface improvements. Throughout the financial statements and certain letters, there is now context-sensitive online help which allows you to find information and help for whichever section you are currently in. Also, the statement user interface has been improved to make navigation easier and a lot simpler to find the settings that you are looking for. In my financial statements, I'll use the 9-column balance sheet as an example. Anyway, throughout the financial statements, I look for the I icon as this is a section where I need help. I click on this. My browser will open to the relevant section and give me information and guidance on how this section works. Also, you'll notice that now all the options for the statements are in an easy to find location where I can customize them as I need. Link the generic 2-column notes to the balance sheet. We have added the ability to link generic 2-column notes to the balance sheet by inserting a linked line and linking to the note. In the client file, I have a generic 2-column note which I'm going to link to the balance sheet. For this demonstration, I've created a generic note called Inventory and Merchandise with lines already populated. I'll go to my balance sheet. Under the current asset sections, I will insert a linked line. I will double click on the drop down instead of selecting it, and a menu will appear telling me that I have generic notes to link to. I can see the name of my note here which I'd like to link, as well as current and prior year amounts. To link it, I simply click on the chain icon. You will see that the amounts pull through from the note and the description has changed. All that is left now is to double click on the note reference and assign a note reference. Percentage columns for the 9-column income statement and prior period adjustments for combined income statements. The 9-column income statements now supports percentage columns similar to the 2-column income statement. Please note, for this functionality to work, only the current year and the prior year totals columns must be selected. We have also added the ability to perform prior period adjustments when the income statement is combined with the statement of retained earnings, proprietorship, or changes in net assets. In my example file, my income statement is combined with my statement of retained earnings. At the bottom, where I have my retained earnings at the beginning of the year, I simply click on the prior period adjustment button, make the adjustment which I need, and you will now see I have a restated amount. Below that, my regular statement of retained earnings continues, with retained earnings at the end of the year.
Flagging note updates in the financial statements. The home menu now has a new diagnostic under the admin panel, which informs you if there are any notes or policies which are out of date from the Resource Center in your current client files. Notes which are out of date will also be flagged as out of date in the document map with an asterisk. In my financial statements home menu, I click on the admin button to open the tab. At the bottom is the diagnostic, which indicates to me that notes and policies are out of date by having a warning indicator in the line. By clicking on the button, it will tell me how many notes and how many policies are out of date. By clicking on OK, it will jump me to the top of the notes. In the document map, you'll notice that basis of presentation, inventory, and description of operations have an asterisk next to them, indicating that there is an update from the Resource Center. Simply clicking on it will jump me to that note and allow me to update from the Resource Center. Please note that when you print the financial statements to PDF, these asterisks will not appear in the bookmarks. If you do not like this option, you can simply go to the Notes menu and turn this option off. Tax and other government remittances note, generic 9-column multi-section note. We have introduced a new note called Income Taxes Cash Basis, which is predominantly for preparers who want to determine net taxable income for cash-based activities such as farming. We have also introduced a generic 9-column multi-section note, which functions similarly to our generic 9-column multi-section schedules. To insert the generic 9-column multi-section note in my file, I simply click on the note drop-down, select it, and click the button. You will receive a warning indicating that this note will always be the last note in the financial statements. Also, it cannot be sorted. Click on OK to insert the note. Navigate to the note. Click on the button to load the column defaults for this note. As you will see, the layout is similar to the generic 9-column schedule. If you click on the note, you can select how many sections you would like, if you want grand totals on and off, running totals on and off, what type of linkage you'd like to use, and so on. Under the Columns tab, you can select which columns you'd like to show, which entities each column shows, and so on. Formatting and skip paragraph functionality for the significant accounting policies. We have added the option in the Notes menu to allow the user to number and indent their significant accounting policies, together with the option to skip any paragraphs which they do not find relevant. In order to change the formatting of my significant accounting policies in my financial statements, I click on the Notes menu. Under Notes and Policy Headings, I have the option of how I would like the headings to be shown, with a combination of bold, italics, and underline. I have the option to have the policies numbered or unnumbered, and to have the policies indented. If I go to a specific policy, I can simply right-click on the paragraph and skip this paragraph if I do not find it relevant for my needs.
Toolbox for additional letters. Jazzit administrators now have access to a toolbox which allows them to create custom letters for firmware implementation with simple copy and paste of cells. For full instructions on how this feature works, please refer to the instructional video on the Jazzit YouTube page. Generic multi-section working paper and tax payment working paper. We have included a new multi-section, multi-column working paper designed to provide flexibility in working papers for a wide variety of engagement requirements. We also have a new multi-section, multi-column working paper designed to summarize all corporate taxes, GST, HST, and remittances made by your client throughout the year.
The generic 9-column multi-section working paper has a variety of options which allow you to tailor this working paper to your relevant engagement needs. Under the working paper options, you have report options for formatting, page size, orientation, and if you would like to show the vertical dividers on and off. You also have the ability to print or only display columns such as date, footnotes, and annotations. You also have the ability to switch the draft stamp on and off. Under column selection, you can select as many columns as you need for your working paper, in addition to a total column. And under column settings, you have the option to link various columns if you are using linked mapping numbers. This working paper consists of 5 sections, which can be switched on and off simply by selecting them. There is a header which is customizable, and the lines in the header can be set to print or skip by simply clicking on and off. The functionality in the sections is similar to the rest of the working papers, where right-click allows you to sort, insert linked lines, manual lines, subheadings, subtotals, or delete the current line. The tax payment working paper has similar functionality to the previously shown generic multi-section working paper. If you select the working paper options, you have options for reports, which columns to display, and which columns to select. Please note that in this working paper, there is no total column and lines cannot be linked to mapping numbers. To select a section, simply click on it to show it. In this working paper, the header can be right-clicked on and incremented for the tax year. All other functionality is similar to the generic multi-section working paper. Rework the risk assessment working paper to include features and functionalities seen in other working papers. Some of the features include setting the page size to letter or legal, the orientation to landscape or portrait, turning columns on and off, setting the default link to something such as Giphy, customizing the headings, and the option to add subheadings or subtotals. Subtotals in the amortization working paper and subheadings and subtotals in the financial statements. We have added the ability to include subtotals in the amortization working papers and the option to insert subheadings and subtotals throughout the financial statements. If I would like to insert subheadings or subtotals in my notes, it is as easy as clicking on the Express button, inserting a subheading, and giving it a name. If I would like to insert a subtotal, I simply right-click and insert a subtotal. All subheadings throughout the financial statements have formatting options, meaning that if I right-click on one and I set it to bold, all subheadings in that section will follow the same convention. Even if I click on a different one and select italics, they will all follow the same convention. Here is a quick rundown of other worthwhile features which have been added to the Jazzit Fundamentals package over the last year. In the home menu, the Jazz Support button has been updated to include direct links to Go to Assist and the Request a Feature Report and Issue web pages. Also, there is a new diagnostic informing the user when there are updates from the Resource Center. In my home menu, I click on the Jazzit button, and there are links for Go to Assist and Report and Issue buttons. Also, you will see that there is an indicator in the top of the screen telling me that there are updates available. Clicking on this opens the admin panel, and I will be able to update whichever sections I need. We have included the ability to add a generic blank letter in the financial statements as an external document. This letter has similar functionality to other generic letters, including the Toolbox, and it can be sorted to anywhere below the engagement report in the financial statements. In my financial statements, I go to my table of contents, select Insert Schedule, select Generic Letter, double-click to open, and I can proceed to edit this any way I would like.
We have added the ability to automatically disable the letterhead on the engagement report if the draft stamp is on. We have added a new bookkeeping letter for those clients which require bookkeeping duties to be performed.
In the engagement letter, we have added the ability to switch individual sections on and off, and to update individual sections from the Resource Center instead of the entire document. In the engagement letter options, I scroll down to where it says row on-off switches. I select display. I select a section. I can switch each line off if I do not need it. Or I can right-click and update this section alone from the Resource Center without having to redo all the work I've done throughout the entire letter. In the Marketable Securities Working Paper, we have added the ability to indicate the maximum fair market value during the year for each specified foreign property held, which is then summarized in the specified foreign property table. Also in the Marketable Securities Working Paper, the Marketable Securities Summary Table now displays the total proceeds and gains or losses for each individual linked Marketable Securities Working Paper.
In the amortization working papers and the marketable security papers, we now have the ability to reset individual groups instead of resetting the entire working paper. In my amortization working paper, I would like to reset the group called Buildings. To reset it to whatever default is in my Resource Center, I go to the Express menu, I right-click, I select Reset Group, OK, and as you'll see, the group is completely reset to whatever is in my default Resource Center. All the other groups remain as they are.
In the debt working papers, we have added the ability to set the number of decimal points for interest rates. In the long-term debt working paper, for example, I go to my interest rate, right-click, set number of decimals, and the rate will change accordingly. The features mentioned in this video today were only a few of the many features added to the Jazzit Fundamentals package throughout the year. If you need help updating, please go to the Jazzit support page where under the Support Articles tab, you'll find the steps to updating and also an instructional video on how to update your financial statements. If you'd like to stay up to date with all the new features which are in Jazzit Fundamentals, on the main Jazzit support page, under recent posts, you will find the recent What's News which have been posted. Also, there is an archive so you can go back and see which features have been added in previous releases. Remember, Jazzit updates are cumulative, meaning that if you update to the latest version, you will have all previous features which have been incorporated. Thank you for watching this video. We hope you have enjoyed the presentation and have a great day.